So I will be discussing my gait analysis of running. So first I'll just have you watch the video. It's in slow motion. So I'm going to have us stop at initial contact here. And his foot angle at impact is right here. This is about 5 degrees, I would say. And then his strike pattern is a rear foot striker. So you can see this because the giraffe would be going through his heel, as his heel is the first thing to contact the ground. And then his distance from the center of mass to his foot, if I draw his plumb line, that's going to be going down straight through his heel. So that means that he has a very ideal distance from center of mass to foot, because if it was too far away from each other, then he would have a higher braking force, which is not ideal. His knee angle at impact is about 10 degrees of flexion, which is good because you want to have a little bit of flexion for shock absorption. Then looking at the loading response, this is where you can see the ankle is going to be in a little bit of dorsiflexion because of the anterior translation of the tibia. And then the knee is going to be a little bit more flexed, maybe about 15-ish degrees. And you want the knee to be flexed for good shock absorption, and then you want the ankle to be dorsiflexed to counteract the ground reaction force, and this will be absorbed by the anterior tibialis. Then the cadence I was unable to determine because of it being a slow motion video, unfortunately. Some deviations that I saw in the frontal plane was some vertical displacement. So he does a lot of bouncing, and then which you want to make sure that you are going to lessen that bouncing, because the more vertical displacement, the less efficient you are while running. And then he also has some hip drop on the swing leg, and I believe this would be due to his abductor weakness. So if I go back a little bit, you can see while his right leg is going through swing, his right hip drops. So here, down and down. So that's definitely things that we need to address. So for what needs to be stretched and strengthened, we can stretch the adductors and strengthen the abductors in order to address the hip drop. And some cueing you could do to improve his running. For the hip drop, you could tape a yardstick to both of his AS-ISs, and then you could take a video of him running and show him how much that those yardsticks go up and down, so you can witness the hip drop. And then also for the bouncing, aka the vertical displacement, you want to discuss with him about staying low to the ground and feeling like he's not bouncing as much. So those are really good cues to give. Otherwise, you could have him go in front of a mirror so he can see himself going up and down. And then lastly, I know it's kind of hard to hear in this video, but in real life he was running pretty hard, so when he was landing it was pretty loud landing sounds, so we would want to tell him to make sure that he's running quieter. And that is all for this.